What's up everyone, this is From Chang bringing you another Armored Core 5 Design Corner. Today I've got one of the 1.01 classics and probably the first most commonly used TE midweight, the MW Sniper. Now, in 1.01 we had the heavy reverse joint being the dominant build, and during that time a lot of people were looking for designs that would, counter that build. This was probably one of the first and probably one of the most effective, bar a few other builds that could, kind of take them on and win against them. A lot of people have used this build. So there was Yondaime, who was at the time when the game launched the #1 ranker on PS3 side. Then you have Godly Perfection, a pretty well-known 360 player in that community, who also used it. I guess you could say he also helped popularized it a lot through his ranked match videos. And so it's become a pretty common build within the community. Alright, let's go ahead and look into the design. Alright, starting with the head, you have the Beowulf, obviously equipped for the high stability computation and camera performance, which means you've got extra range on your FCS, you can scan from far away, and stability computation just adds on a lot more speed. Then you have the UCR-10A. It's one of the two top KE cores. It's got 1,000 extra AP than the Jotun, which is the other most commonly used one. It's only got about 30 recons, but that's usually not too big of a deal for most people. The #1 reason you use it is the energy conductivity at 125, which basically means your boosters get to top speed faster. Right, we have the Animus Arms. It's a TE arms. It's got great AP, good TE defense, helps buff up the TE to make it so that PMGs aren't a problem. And what's probably the single most important reason to use it is the dual shoulder units. We'll talk that a little more when I get to the subcomputers, but basically it doubles the effect of any shoulder unit equipped. More on that later. And then next we have the G21 Legs. Basically, these are one of the best speed KE legs to use. As you can see here, it's got pretty much overall superior, speed categories, the jumping, turning, and movement control. And the only leg that outclasses it, I believe, is the Shasta, which is basically a kind of lighter version of the G21. But as you can see here, it only outclasses it in 2 stats. So if you want to go for a lot of speed for a midweight, the G21 is your first choice. This leg has been pretty good, so much to the point that From Software has had to nerf it in every single patch. But despite that, it's still a pretty good KE midweight legs if you're going for speed. For FCS, I've got the Glance, basically because it has the second highest lock computation. Add on the subcomputers, its lock is almost instantaneous. It's got a good lock range and a good lock on size. In generator, I've got the Hovital, the best of the high output generators at 17,530, as you can see here, real quick. And basically it means your energy is going to be covering really fast. I've got the Doffing Booster in here. Basically, a lot of people use the high power booster because of the raw speed it gives you. You have your choice of Doffing, which is more energy efficient, or the Buria for pure speed. As you can see here, it'll give you 343. With the Doffing, I've got 327. I personally prefer to run the Shinatsu just because I'm a high acceleration kind of guy, and I prefer precision in my builds. For a recon unit, because the UCR-10A only has 30 recon in it, most people use the EA so that it can last for really long periods of time. Because if you're not careful and you use the ER, which has like a third of the operational time as the EA, you're going to run it out pretty quickly, especially in, team battles. Alright. So next we have the sniper rifles. These are the bread and butter of the midweight sniper, obviously. And right now I have the Psych Head equips. An interesting note about the Psych Head, it's one of the a few first generation parts that are as good as the second generation ones. The Cycat is basically a first generation sight-in bomb, which is the most commonly used sniper rifle, as you can see here. The only difference being is that it's more of a, it's weaker, but it's also got a few stats which make it better than the sight-in bomb. Namely speaking, its muzzle velocity, let's see, muzzle velocity, base lock-on time, and reload time are much lower than the sight-in bombs, which means they lock faster, they shoot faster, and yeah, basically those two. Because muzzle velocity and base lock-on basically means it's shooting faster. This is Cycat's a lot more popular on JP side now because you know, the faster you could lock onto your opponent, the better, easier it is to pop shot. So that's why at the moment I think it's the most commonly used sniper rifle, and probably one of the best ones to use. Power maxes out at about, if you use just regular power tuning, it'll max out at 27 to 2900, I believe, and it allows you to keep your base lock-on time, which is what you really want. Right, for your shoulders, which I forgot to equip, you would have the Danabad subcomputer. Now, as I mentioned earlier, when you use an arm like the Animus, it has 2 shoulder units. What that means is that any shoulder unit you equip, it's going to have double the effect. So, for instance, let's say you use missiles, and you have a FCS that has 2 lock. Well, with that 2 lock, because you're using a dual shoulder unit, it's going to actually fire 4 missiles, 2 from each of the shoulders. Same holds true for effect type shoulder units, like the Danabad. So, the accelerated lock-on is 199, but because you're using dual shoulder units, it's double that. So, I don't think I mentioned this earlier, but sniper rifles have pretty long lock-on times. As you can see here, 233. That's a good, let's see, with a glance that would be 3-4 seconds without using a subcomputer. By using the dual subcomputers, you are effectively getting instantaneous lock-on, because it's getting speeded up because you're using 2 subcomputers instead of 1, thanks to the dual shoulder units. That's a big reason why the TE arms like the Animus are used a lot. Alright, for back weapons, here we have the Lotus. You know, it's a commonly used battle rifle. It's mainly used against faster targets because it has a pretty high muzzle velocity. As you can see, between 500 to 600. If you compare it to the other battle rifles, you know, the UBR gets, you know, between 300 and 400. And the Strakoza, I don't even think, it doesn't even break 500, I believe. But yeah, it's one of the fastest battle rifles. It's a little on the weak side, so it kind of balances out. If you notice here, the attack power on this is 1411. What this means is that I tuned it for rapid fire. I did this, or did I tune it for accuracy? I don't remember, but the thing is that you use that in order to decrease the base lock-on time and reload time of battle rifles. What this does is basically means that it fires faster and it locks in a really short period of time. Now, this is most commonly used as a, whenever you see the dual battle rifles that are rapid fire, this is commonly used in 1v1s because it means that the sniper rifles will take out 90% of the builds, the slower builds like HRJs, heavyweights, things that would be immune to the rapid fire on the back, and the battle rifles would be used for anything faster than that. This build you can see is right here is was pretty common as a dueling build. Like if you looked at the ranked leaderboards back then in 1.04, pretty much everyone in the top 10 had this build. That pretty much should show you just how good it was at the time. It had a good combination of attack, speed, and defense that it was used pretty widely across the board. Everyone used this, like I said before. It's not used quite as much anymore because I believe the G21, it got another nerf in 1.05, which the JP server is on right now. and so it's not used quite as frequently. And this is mainly used as a dueling build now, although there's several versions of it that are used a little bit more, like a few more, like a TE core or a TE head. It kind of depends, but this build has been kind of on the decline in terms of popularity. Right. But beyond that, the Midweight Sniper is still a pretty solid build. I personally believe it's one of the best to use as a beginner because it teaches you some of the basics in the game, like pop shotting, conserving energy, and keeping distance, which are important things to learn in the game. So if you're ever looking for a build to start out with, this is usually where you want to go. I hope this build was this design episode was useful to you guys. And like I said before, if there's any builds you want me to talk about, let me know in the comments. And if you like the video, obviously like it and subscribe to the channel. That way, you know, you can see more of these videos come out. I'm gonna have a lot more of these later on. And yeah, that's about it. This is from Cheng, signing out.
Activating combat mode.